Okay, so I strained it. Dehydrate these for plant food. This is animal food. Put that outside. The cats will eat it and whatnot. Here's a little bit of fat that was stewing, right? So I'm going to cut this up and spread it between these jars. Here's a little bit of chicken that was on the bones, whatever, miscellaneous, right? Because I had the stuffing, right? So, you know. Anyway, that will be for a sandwich later. This is the stock. Should be enough just to fill up what I need for my jars. I tasted it. It's very mild. So I'm just going to put one of those in. That's it. Instead of salt, I'm going to use this. So hold on. Okay, so that's the chicken that I got after it was baked, right? So now we're going to jar up. I cut that little bit of fat up and put just a little bit in each one. So hold on. Okay, so I'm trying not to get discouraged here. I don't know. I woke up kind of blue. You know, feeling defeated. Yep. I'm just sitting here trying to get motivated. I think it's the 22nd of November. No, November 21st. November 21st of 2022. 5:40 in the morning, and I've already been up for a couple of hours. I've already had my first coffee. And I'm like, I broke down, people. I'm sorry. The only way I could see this trademark being re-registered is this lawyer from Seattle calling me up when the time comes to say, hey, are you, we talked, right? You said that you were thinking to do this. Are you going to do this? And I'd be like, well, I kind of sabotaged myself. I overspent on groceries at Walmart, and, and I bought myself, what is that? I'm working on some discos here, right? So I had to buy the attachment for the ceiling to make the ball turn. I didn't have to, but I just want to get on with it. The one that I do have is in War Room 1, but with my babies in there now, with those tomato plants and everything all blocked off, I can't even get up to it, so that will have to just stay there. And then, before I went to sleep last night, well, yeah, I guess, I laid down and then I fell asleep. You know how it goes. I ordered 2 25-pound bags of organic chickpeas at $84 a bag, which I know what's happening here. I'm paying for the shipping one way or another. It doesn't matter. I've bought enough from that company to know, okay? And I bought 5 pounds to try it out at $57, people. Oh my God. At 5 pounds of ground up dates. So it's date sugar, right? And I'm trying to figure out a way where I can make my own date sugar without, because to get 30 pounds of date sugar, it's like $270. Yeah. So that'll be my next shop. Will be just that. And I might top it off with something small at for $300. With shipping. That's shipping paid for. But yeah, so it was like $223 for the 2 bags of chickpeas and the 5-pound bag of date sugar. Because I can't lose sight of what I want to do for Amari. This morning I woke up, or whatever, yeah, when I woke up, I'm like, I kind of woke up discouraged, and, Because, you know, like, I mean, obviously the first thing that was on my mind was, well, there you go, you sabotaged yourself, right? That's just less money for the trademark. Obviously it's on my mind, right? But then on the other hand, Amari is more important. I have to stay with the more important issue at hand. And the issue at hand is don't give up on trying to make a supplemental drink that can replace the ones that he's on. Because, you know, I'm still stuck on, well, what can I add in there for those extra calories? You know, there's only so many calories in chickpeas, and there's only so many calories in dates. And you don't even use a lot of dates when you make the chickpea milk, right? You just use it for the flavor and just for the few minerals and that type of thing. Okay, this is Andre's walnut art. These are the stems to the branches of the walnut tree, and when they dry, they're really nice. People like to use them for crafts, or for, like, when they do displays at weddings or funerals or wherever, you know, you have a vase of flowers, and you put this in between the flowers, right? So anyway, something else I should be working on. Andre's walnut art, so maybe I'll make up little packets somehow, some way. The problem with that, though, is shit's scattered around. Anyway, I'm not going to get upset because, you know, things get moved. That's just the way life is. So anyway, it's nothing that can't be fixed in the springtime, and these are just a complement to everything else that I have. I have a bit of a selection, and this is a renewable resource because it can be it drops from the tree every year, and these ones are nice and like really healthy. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just sorting them out. Andre ran outside and got them outside, so they're damp just a little bit, right? So I have to, you know, let them dry out. So I settled for Amari. That's what I did. I put him first, and then I got up this morning, and I'm like, just stay focused, right? Trying to figure out how I can make my own date sugar, but I don't know. By the time you're done chopping it, grinding it, dehydrating it, it's easier just to pay the $2.70 and be done with it, right? And you just use it as an additive in other foods, right? I'm going with the date because of the nutritional value of it. I don't know what the calories... Oh, yes, I did. What are the calories? I looked at the back of this package that I got from Walmart, which is probably just, you know, 500 grams, almost not even 500 grams, so we'll just say a pound. I'm trying to calculate in my head what's the cheaper way to make my own. Go to the grocery store and buy 25 packs of date, chop. And I'm thinking you'd maybe chop it up, break it up. You'd have to dehydrate it. You'd have to. For how long, I don't know. And then you'd have to run it through a blender. But then you'd get the same product as if you were to buy it from Organics Matters, but it's already done for you. Yeah, so I thought, well, we'll just start with the 5-pound bag first for convenience, just to see if I even like it. Right? Play with it to see how the best method to store it. You know, I don't want to, honestly, I don't want to store it in plastic. I know if I put it in a jar, it will clump. It will, you know, over time it will settle, right? Does it soften if you put an apple peel in it? I don't know. Right? Like brown sugar, because otherwise you're going to be scraping the whole time you're going to try and get to it. If you don't, you know, especially if you put it away for long-term storage and then you need it and you go use it and it's been sitting there for 3 years, you know, it's going to be pretty compact. How gummy is it? I don't know. It's not like sugar. This is a natural food source. So, like, stay focused. Don't beat yourself up for, I don't know, just feeling discouraged. Right? I'm just, like, canning. I got up this morning and I'm like, ugh, you know, just work on just finishing up what you need to do for the most part in terms of I have the fish and the black cod I want to can. I have a turkey that I want to can. And I have some pork fat that I bought at Lucky's a while back. And I just threw it in the freezer, but I never rendered it. So I want to render that and get that out of there. And then maybe at some point I might get into a different freezer and can something else. But other than that, I just want to get that stuff done, and I'm going to do it back to back. Because this last time when I put this canner away, honestly, I thought I'd just turn my nose to it for a little while and try and ignore it and focus on other things because, you know, right? And that's not what happened. I ended up getting those chickens, and they're done now, right? But because the canner is back up, before I take it back down, I'm just going to cut to the chase and get into the fish. I'll be taking the fish out today out of the freezer. I've been thinking about how I can do it, like the fish ends, because they're fish ends, right? Minus the black cod. The black cod is already in a piece, so, you know, that's easy enough to cut, right? After it unthaws a bit. And the other one, I don't know, because it's like ends, I'm thinking it might be better if I just, I don't know, if I just cook it a bit. I don't know how well it's going to peel off with a knife raw. I don't know. You don't want to waste it, right? So you'd be better off to cook it a bit and then slide the meat off and then put that in your jar. And I'm, you know, wanting to use some kind of olive oil, right? I bought it. I don't know. I have to go get it and just can it up. Be done with it. I have the jars. And then, don't put the canner away. Just keep it out and do that turkey. Then, think about putting it away. And just really avoid using it for a while and focusing on other things. But we know, people, if I go to the grocery store and I find beef at $5 a pound in a chunk of meat, I'm buying, okay? So, now, these quart-sized jars that I've been using for this chicken lately, I don't know. Now, I opened up my canner again. A little too soon, I think. I think when you're canning quart-sized jars with something that's somewhat greasy, okay, for 90 minutes, because you have to do it for 90 minutes, right? That's a long time. I don't know. I'm finding that out of last batch was 6 jars, 1 didn't seal. Got up, turns out, out of 5 jars that I did yesterday, last night, or whatever it was, 1 didn't seal. And I'm like, now I know for a fact if I would have had them in pint-sized jars, I'd have a better chance of them sealing. Is that because they're only in the pressure canner for 75 minutes? Or, I don't know. The bigger the jar, the bigger the vortex. right? And it's the vortex that pushes out the air, the liquid, the grease, whatever, food particles out of the jar. And then that could compromise your lid because, you know, it's greasy, right? So even when you're canning meat or whatever, and you know you take the vinegar and with the rag and you wipe around the rim, well, you're thinking that you got a nice seal to the rim. Well, it doesn't matter because as it's cooking, it's going to go like this, right? And pushing things out. So, you know, it compromises the ring either or. I mean, obviously it helps to clean first, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get that siphoning. That's what that's called, right? I think I'm gonna make a conscious effort to the next time I can in a quart-sized jar anyway when it comes to chicken and beef and all this other stuff, which I should do this little experiment maybe when I do the turkey. Can it in quart-sized jars, run your 90 minutes, and then before you open up the lid, make sure the canner is really cool. Like, really cool. Because if you take off the lid too soon, even though the pressure goes down, you take off the lid and that suction releases, which there's still that vortex going on in there, right? It's just going to speed it up. And you'll spit out more, which compromises the lid, and you might not get a seal. Right? Yesterday, I tried to leave it a little longer, because, you know, I want every jar to seal, right? So I left the canner a little longer before I opened it, but I still opened it too soon because when I opened it, it wasn't soon after that I heard the sizzle. My stomach's growling. Right? Which tells you that your jar is siphoning. Maybe if I would have left the lid on for an extra half an hour to an hour, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Because it sounded like it started after I opened the lid. Because of that pressure change too soon. And therefore, I have a jar now that didn't seal. So it's in the fridge. My last jar that didn't seal, with the last chicken legs, I ended up giving to the animals. Because it sat in the fridge for a week. I forgot about it. And so I put it outside for the animals. Right? This one, I don't want to do that. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll just cut to the chase. What else do you got to do in life? Other than maybe make chicken pot pie. You got the chicken, you got the potatoes, right? And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have like peas, fresh peas, whatever, I don't know. I got dehydrated peas and I've got canned peas, so I've got whole peas. If I wanted to, I could start soaking them and cooking them, and maybe I should try that. And I'll just make maybe tomorrow. I'll make plans tomorrow to make the pie. Or maybe I might even make it today. Try out that lard that I made. And I'll make two separate. I can either make one big pie, or I can make two separate pies and give one pie to my son and he can bake it for himself. And keep one upstairs for the kids and I. Because that jar itself will be enough for 2 pies. You could stretch it out to 3. Seriously. Right. If you wanted to put a meal on it. Or you can take the time to can the jar again if you wanted to. You'd have to, like, you know, start fresh. But for one jar, I'm not going to do that. Unless, of course, I do the fish, like, ASAP. But I'm not in the mood even to do fish just yet. I have to get caught up with a few other things first. I'm just going to keep the canner up. And I'm going to make an effort to do the fish and the turkey as I do other things in a day. Alright. I tell myself, well, you're nuts. Who the hell's going to want walnut stems when they can go to a thrift store, or not a thrift store, you know, like a craft store of some kind. Go buy it if they wanted it bad enough. What's the chance of them wanting it from you? And I'm like, yeah, well, don't give up on that dream with Andre's walnut art. Right? Just keep working on it. You know, this is nice. These are nice. This tree is producing a really nice product. It gave off one nut this year. Next year it'll probably have more than one. The nut itself was small, but the growing season out there isn't that great either because of what's happening to our sun. But anyway, okay, so that's what's going on. I don't want to beat myself up for buying chickpeas. If I can get a drink going, I'll be buying more chickpeas. If I can't get something going in the next couple of 2-3 months with what I have, in terms of trying to build in it as a staple in the house, because I'm not going to use it just for Amari's milk. I plan on making crackers with it. You know, it'd be interesting to see if you could put it into sourdough a little bit. I don't know. In your bread when you're making it, right? Try and make my own mayonnaise. Let's try that. And try and use it as an egg replacement in a recipe. Just to see if it's, you know, if it's worth the investment. And if it is, then you definitely want to, you know, make sure you have access to it. So in that situation, because, you know, Kyrie he's allergic to milk. So I'm not thinking just about Amari too, right? I'm thinking, well, if you make something that's really good, and the kids like it, well, then yeah, you keep doing it, right? These are nice. They're really nice. Okay. Where am I? Hey. Okay, I can tell it's going to be a slow day today. Yeah. It's a cross between a moping and shuffling, you know, but it's more like a scuffle. And I'm just kind of scuffling along, shuffling. It's a cross between a scuffle and a shuffle, and moping a bit, right? Just feeling just like no energy, and trying not to get mad. Planning my day. It's 20 after 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm poking away at the kitchen to clear out the sink and everything so I can wash these jars, and I'll show them to you. And I'm planning to make a chicken pot pie. But the thing is, I'm looking for, and honestly, I don't even think what I'm looking for is in these, but it might be. I know in one of these, I don't know which one, is my grandmother's recipe for a thing called earwushkas. And what they are is they're a Ukrainian pastry that's made with beer. And after you make them, I'm pretty sure you deep fry them, you take icing sugar and you sprinkle them on top. And they're so, so good. Like, so good. The reason I'm interested in finding that recipe is because I've got old birthday beer that's been sitting in my bedroom for like 3 years. It's more than likely still okay, but I'm not in the mood to drink beer, you know. I tried to at one point, but I had my 1 beer and 2 beers, and yeah, that's right. So I want to maybe try and just experiment and cook with it outside of earwushkas. Like, definitely make the earwushkas and then see what other things I can use beer for to use up the box. Otherwise, I have to drink it. I was going to give it to my neighbors because they like to drink next door, but I thought, no, I'm just going to hang on to it because I know I can use it for earwushkas. Thing is, I have to find the recipe. So I know the recipe is in here somewhere, but the problem with that, though, is I can't freaking read the writing anymore, people. Like, this is pathetic. So now I'm thinking, well, how can I hang a light right over this stuff? I'm hanging lights all over the place. Because even with the magnifying glass, I have to go get glasses. But it's too soon to get the glasses. Well, here's pizza dough. I'm looking for the no-fail pastry. I know it's not this. I know what to look for, but I'm looking for the... I just want to see now, since I've got them, right? Put the ones that I can use right away in front. But this no-fail pastry recipe that I have, oh, it's like 3 cards stapled together. I don't know where it is. It came from my Auntie Noreen. Like long time ago. Yeah. And I used it a lot over the years as my kids were growing up. But I don't know where it is. I know the earwushka recipe should be in here somewhere. So definitely look for that. It's just, you know, again, pumpkin filling. There we go. I got pumpkins that need to be done. So where's... See, these are... I want to start doing stuff like this. I don't know if and when I'll have the time. But we need to get on with it, right? That's what this wheat is for. Right? It'll take me all day just to go through all this stuff. There's a bunch of blueberry recipes already pre-printed out, which is nice. So I'm going to work on maybe rearranging these. I'll put them in different categories. That's what I'll do. I'll go through it. And then the ones that I really like, maybe I can get Andre to type them out on the computer. I have an idea. Well, no, because it's kind of hard to write in fractions. You can't really print in fractions unless you have the proper character set. What is this? Rosettes. What are rosettes? Rosettes. I don't even know what rosettes are. I think that's a dough or something, isn't it? Like, that looks old, eh? Look how old that looks. This is old. This is from when I was in my early 20s, some of this stuff. Even before then. Like my grandmother's earwishka recipe would be on something like this, I think. What is this? See? I can't see nothing. Ingredients. What is this? Ingredients for what? Just says ingredients. Butter, brown sugar, corn syrup, salt, baking soda, vanilla, popped popcorn, or maybe maybe caramel popcorn. That could be, that's what that is. I just look so motivated? That's what I mean. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to move around. I get tired, man. Oh. That's why I just want to can up what needs to be freaking canned up and put this canner away at least for about 3-4 months. That would be great, but every time I go to the grocery store, that's the problem. I end up finding something, and I have this great need to preserve food. And with, you know, the mindset of governments trying to wean us off of animal products, I feel even more needy to make sure that I have a good supply of it on hand when it gets too expensive to buy. What is this? Banana fudge bars. Andre would like that. I think so. That would be good. So maybe he might like to try and... So, but they need to be either rewritten out where I can actually see them, as if I got time to start doing that in big letters with dark ink. Or at least put into a book. Like, I don't need all this excess paper. Well, what's back here? Maybe there's something back here. It's written in red. I can't read it. It says pudding. Bread pudding. Well, here we go. I want to start making pudding. Only it's written in red and I can't really see it. Maybe you can see it. I can see it better. Well, I can see the writing, the color better through the screen on the camera than I can looking at it like this. So I don't know how this is going to work. But I think this might be a good recipe to start a new book on. Because sometimes these older recipes are good. And you don't know until you try them, right? And I don't remember this one. So anyway, you can see what's happening here. It's going to take me a while to find what I'm looking for, assuming that I can even find it, because I may have moved it someplace else. I do remember moving it. I mean, I can just end up making any kind of dough. It doesn't really matter, but I do like that pastry dough. So, yeah, no. I'm going by feel, not by look. I'm looking for that one that's stapled together. See, it's going to take me, you know, it's going to take me 2 months just to go through these, figure it out. But here's, let's see what this is. What is it? something dough. I don't know if that's sour. No, I don't think this is sourdough. I don't know. What is it? Bread. Sweet dough. Bread, sweet dough. Ooh, that sounds good. 5 cups flour. 2 tablespoons yeast. 1 tablespoon salt. 3/4 cup milk. 1/2 cup water. 1/2 cup melted butter. 1/2 cup sugar. 1 egg. Okay, I'm going to try and make this. I'll read the directions and let's just see what we get. This is what I need to start doing, people. You know, I got all this wheat berries and stuff, and that's why I'm trying to clear out the kitchen, but I keep bringing in the canner. I put the canner away, I bring the canner in. I put the canner away, but not this time. This time I'm keeping it out for the month. I'm going to can the fish, I'm going to can the turkey, and I might even can something else that I find in my freezer along the way. And if I come across a good deal with beef, more than likely beef, I would buy it and I would can it. Right? But it'd have to be beef. Right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to show you these jars for a minute, and then I'm going to end this video because we don't want to drag it out too long, right? So, yeah, hold on a minute. Hold on. Okay. Do you see what Henri does? He made me grilled cheese sandwich last night, and he left everything open. Now it's dry. But I want to break away from bought bread, right? And we just came across some sweet dough. So there you go. We're going to work on that today as we work on our pie. Chicken pot pie. So basically, I'm ending this video now, okay? Basically, I did 5, but 1 didn't seal. Honestly, I think I'm opening up the canner too soon with that vortex going. I'm not giving it enough time to cool before I break the pressure in the canner. Even though there's no pressure, this thing is still, and if you open the canner too soon, it just speeds up the process and it makes it more forceful, and you right? Whereas if you just leave it, maybe it would have just settled down. But I also find, hold on a minute, I'm also finding, because normally when I do meat in the past, it's always been in 1/2 pint size jars. It's never been in quarts. I've only been just lately experimenting with meat at 90 minutes in a quart size jar. I always go with the pint at 75 because I know about this, right? So, you know, I try and just limit the amount of time that's occurring. So I go with the smaller jar size. But I'm thinking larger meals, or at least in this situation. Okay, do you see? That's a lot of meat in there, okay? A lot. And you could get 2 full pies with that. Fairly large, 10-inch size. with your other vegetables and gravy and potatoes, right? You could do that. That would make a nice big pot of soup. Seriously. So now you're getting into the larger family, you know, 4 to 8, okay? In terms of members, family members. Now, I'm going to wash these. Is what I'm getting ready to do. Before you put them away, it's best to leave them out for about a week. Seriously, where you can kind of keep an eye on them, because they can still pop. After you wash them, just gently tug on the lid. Gently. Can you, am I showing you? Yeah. Right? Okay. And make sure you put them in a very cool place. So if you're trying to cut back on the siphoning of a jar so that the seal is better, I would just say don't take off your lid too soon. Let them cool more inside the jar to try and prevent a jar from not sealing. Okay? But it's still, you know, possible where after I wash them, put them over there, let them sit out for a little while, you come back in 2 or 3 days from now, and a jar might pop. Right? In a situation like that, then it would become animal food for me. Right? Which is fine, because there's always animals that like food, so I don't sweat it too much. But this other jar that didn't seal last night, I'm going to work with it today, and I'm going to attempt to make a pie. Where did I put that thing? I had it. Oh yeah, right here. I'm going to attempt to make a pie this size, and maybe a smaller pie for my son with one of these. Okay? Because that itself, by itself, in this, would basically fill up the whole thing. If you were to make a pie crust, pour that in there, well, thicken up the juice first, then pour it in there, put pie crust over top, you could have a straight up chicken pie. Just chicken with gravy inside. That's enough, right? You'd have to be a very hungry man to sit there and just start eating the whole thing. So that's why I say I'm pretty sure I can make this size pie and a smaller one separate for my son. And then because he feeds me, right, sometimes, so you know. And I don't know, there looks like there's some kind of recipe on here. I don't know what it is. Cheesecake. I'm going to make cheesecake. But I'm not making cheesecake. Where am I? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make pie today. And maybe, since I'm working with flour, I'll try that sweet dough. And if I like the result of the sweet dough, then that recipe will be the first recipe that goes into the new book. As I go through the old recipes, looking for earwishkas and those kind of things. Right? Because it's, you know, hard for me to see. So I need to make these things up in my face. So if I have page from page with darker print, then it will be much easier to keep your favorite recipe on hand. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we'll be back.